Whoa! You don't see me.
Yes.
Hello, Googans. We missed you. Beef?
True.
It's after drill. You know it. You love it. Or at least you know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know you should love it. I'm out of frame. There we go. That's better. Hello, Googans. It's Hump Day.
Yes.
Wednesday. It's Media Day down at TIAA Bank Field. And more and more, it looks like 2-7 is back in the fold, ready to roll. He appears as though he successfully fought off Satan. And he's ready now. He's ready now to tote the rock for the Big Cats. I didn't know that's what was holding him back, but apparently so. Apparently the great Beelzebub was holding Leonard back, and now he's ready to hit it. So we've got that going for us, which is nice.
Oh boy! Yeah, I can't wait. Exciting.
Jags a 3-point dog at Indianapolis Sunday. So. You'd
have told the Jags that before the season, they'd have laughed at.
We would have laughed and laughed and laughed if you said, "Hey, after the bye, the Jags are going to roll into Indy and be a dog on the road." We'd have laughed and laughed and laughed. But turns out, no. The Colts are bad, and so are the Jags. And Andrew Luck's having a tremendous season. And the Jags, hopefully, with Leonard Fournette back, can get a win and get this thing started. Lauren Brooks on the drill today laid out a roadmap for how the Jags can go 7-1 in the second half and salvage their season.
Would have loved to have heard that.
The only game that now it's a hypothetical roadmap. A lot of things have to happen, but the only game she had as a loss on that hypothetical map to success was the Thursday nighter at Tennessee. Everything else, she said she could find a way for the Jaguars to win the game. So
I'm not.
Look, I don't necessarily agree.
She was doing it for the sake, or that's what she believes?
I don't know. She was just saying I could sell you on the Jags going 7-1. So I don't know if it's necessarily what she believes.
Okay.
More so than she was selling a probable theory that this is a way in which the Jags could go 7-1 to finish the season, and you go 7-1, man.
Any of you out there who want to bet
you're 10-6, and you're probably in the field.
If any of you want to bet me that we go 7-1, I will gladly take the.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's making that bet. No one's betting on the 7-1 finish for the Jags based on how the first half has gone. But certainly, no one's going to try and tell you that the second half of the Jags schedule is harder than the first half.
I get that. And
it's lighter.
I get it, and to a certain extent, I also understand that you're getting Fournette back. But here's the problem, really. I mean. Who's to say that the Jaguars are even going to turn into this team that can even run the football with Leonard Fournette?
Well, sure.
You've been down so big in so many games. You have to throw the ball. The offensive line is banged up and has been bad. I mean, Leonard Fournette is only averaging like 3 yards a carry. Look, I think it obviously helps to get him back. There's no question about that. He's probably worth some wins. But 8 games in, your team is what it is.
Right.
They're not. Look, I'd be shocked if the Jags made the postseason at this point.
I don't know if I'd say shocked.
I'd be shocked because the Texans have won 6 straight.
I'd be surprised. I don't know if I'd call it shock, but the Jags certainly, it's an uphill battle for them to get into playoff contention.
It would take the Texans collapsing and the Jags to go on a huge run. Is my point.
Well, I would say. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me for them to go 5-3 or 6-2 to finish the season. It's more so too. The field is going to get awfully narrow because there are teams ahead of them that I don't see fading. So there's only so many spots in the postseason, and you're battling for them with another, with a handful of teams that all feel like they're also in the mix.
Like if you go 5-3 the rest of the way, all the Texans have to do is win 2 games. They're already 6-3. So I mean, that's how you have to look at it. And
I feel like part of her roadmap to the 7-1 finish was the Texans not slowing down. And that late season game with Houston being at the point where they've already clinched up the division, it doesn't have an impact on their postseason, and so they're sort of laid down, much like the Jags did against Tennessee last year.
She's basically saying we would have a shot at the wild card.
At a wild card, that they would go 7-1, finish 10-6, and have a shot at one of the wild cards because Houston would already have locked up the division. Again, it was. I'm not saying she believes that this is going to happen. She was just saying. Hypothetically, this is how it could happen. Sure. I don't believe anybody thinks the Jags are going 7-1, and I
almost want to look up where the rest of the AFC is right now in like to the wild card, because to me the wild card's never even really been in play in my mind. Thinking about the Jaguars season, it's kind of division or bust.
Right. Even though last year the AFC South had a wild card as well, so
Right.
it wasn't like it's
No, I mean,
outlandish.
Right.
I do enjoy Drew over here unlocking his phone. I
I'm
didn't
doing
see
it.
his password, but his numerical passcode on his iPhone looked like it was about 47 digits. So if you ever steal Drew's phone, you're never going to get into it. You'll never hack it because his passcode is so unbelievably long.
Like, here's the problem. Like, you got a team like the Chargers who are in the Chiefs division who would probably take that wild card spot.
I would feel like
or maybe the Bengals, or I mean Miami's even 5-4.
At least in the mix. That's what we're saying. You look at the AFC standings. We're looking at the AFC standings.
That's what we're doing.
So obviously New England's in.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh probably in. Houston probably in.
Yeah.
Kansas City probably in. Chargers probably.
So you're looking at basically your main competition being the Chargers, the Chargers, the Titans. I mean, even the Ravens are good enough to get hot. They're 4-5. The Bengals and the
Miami,
Dolphins, I guess.
So there's a handful of teams vying for one, maybe two wild cards at this stage, and you're one of them. And so it's going to take you're going to have to be probably 10-6 to be in the mix for it because everybody else is going to be coming down the wire as well. I mean, we'll see. Either way, it's good having Leonard back because the team undoubtedly is better.
Yes.
With Leonard Fournette running the ball.
I agree.
And look, I mean, and if they start running the ball more effectively with Leonard Fournette, then hopefully they can utilize Carlos Hyde more as well, and it becomes a very potent attack.
It just seems like, man, the way that the offenses are scoring this year, you just can't do it. And look, it looked like, honestly, what's happened is the Jag kind of built this power run team a couple years too late. I just don't know.
But that just isn't the model anymore.
Yeah, right. I just don't know with how potent these offenses are. You're asking too much out of that defense to, for instance, go to Kansas City in a road playoff game and win a game 17-14.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
No. At this point, your defense needs to be a really fast defense that can hold a team like Kansas City to 20.
All of a sudden, your defense has to go back to being what people thought it could be. It has to turn into that generational type defense, and all of a sudden, your offensive line is going to have to figure out how to run the ball, and Blake's going to have to not play like crap.
Right. But as it stands right now, the defense has to just try not to give up too much, but the offense, this is how the league is built now. Your offense needs to go out and score 24 points a game. Yeah. They have to. And
the biggest worry, I think, moving forward is you're nowhere close to that.
We don't have an offense that we can kind of score half that.
So that's, I think, what scares me the most is that you're looking at this team and it's almost like, again, last year you're in the AFC title game. It looks like you had the Super Bowl. I mean, I won't say all but locked up whenever you're playing, the Patriots. But, I mean, it looked good. It looked like the Jags are going to the Super Bowl. You're going to get Nick Foles in the Super Bowl. You end up blowing the game, and you think, all right, well, you got a really good returning team coming back. All those young players are going to take that next step. The Jags are going to be really good this year as well. And it would be worth it at that point if you got 2 really good years, maybe 3 out of that team that you built. That's typically how the windows go, especially if you're looking at a defensive type, a tough defensive built team. The windows are typically shorter than if you get, obviously a franchise quarterback or something like that.
Right.
But again, now all of a sudden you're looking and you're like, oh my God, the Jags are probably about to go into another full-blown rebuild because I don't know how do you keep up at this point when you look at what they have offensively? I mean, they have the worst receiving core in the league. They have a big problem on the offensive line after paying Norwell all that money as well. Linder is overrated. Cam Robinson, even though he's out for the year, he wasn't all that good either. And now with Blake Bortles regressing, it's like now you got a really big problem at quarterback too. So and you got a running back who can't stay healthy.
Well, and that's why I think we've talked about in the past is that you feel like there's going to be some attrition in the offseason on the defensive side of the ball. Some of those guys are going to come off, and you feel like that money has to be reallocated on the other side of the ball. You can't just pour all your cash in defense because the offense is a dumpster fire right now, and you need to fix it. It starts at QB, but it's not just QB. Like you said, Drew, offensive line's bad. The running back group is solid, but with Leonard as your lead dog being injury prone, that's hard to rely on. The receiving core is not good. The tight ends are not good. It's bad on offense for this team, and they need to find a way.
The combo of having 2 guys who are bangers and not really all that elusive with a kind of porous offensive line is not a great combo.
It's not really good, right? It's not a recipe for success in the run game. That being said, there's also a lot else going on right now, Drew.
Sure, like college basketball.
Don't get started. You and the other Hicken had a nice little argument in here, and I don't want to be part of it. You guys are obnoxious, both of you.
5 straight.
Yes,
baby.
college basketball is back. Congratulations to Duke on the national title.
Oh my God.
That's good for them. That's another one for Coach K. And we'll see you next year for another round of NCAA hoops.
Yeah, man, they look good.
Well, those three guys are all top 5 NBA draft picks, and they all looked incredible.
Really good.
Duke's 3 super freshmen scored 83 points last night. The entire Kentucky Wildcats basketball team scored 84 last night. It was, and that's the number 4 Kentucky team that was thought of as also a national title contender, and they got absolutely blitzed. But again, it's the first game of the year. It's hard to really take a read off.
Kentucky will be fine.
But for
Duke's
Duke
really
to do
good.
that like that is, boy, it's does not bode well for everybody else the rest of the year.
No, it sure doesn't.
Now, Drew, I'm not like a conspiracy theory guy per se,
Sure.
but the hot stove's burning right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And I'm just going to throw out some factoids, and you tell me if
I'm buying them or not.
reading some tea leaves.
Sure.
Okay? Fact.
Mm.
Bryce Harper purchased a home, like a condominium apartment, purchased in New York.
Yep.
Fact. The Washington Nationals made what one insider called a very aggressive offer to Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
The details of that offer are starting to emerge. While it looks aggressive on the surface, you poke holes in it, and it certainly looks more like an offer to placate a fan base when a guy leaves, because you could say, we tried! They offered Bryce Harper a 10-year, $300 million deal with 0 opt-outs over the course of the 10 years.
Yikes.
So a 30-year annual value with no opt-outs, which means you sign that deal, you're locking yourself into $30 a year for 10 years. That's it. Now look, you and me go, oh, well, $30 million a year, that's ridiculous. Take the money. But you got to understand, these guys, from their perspective, Bryce Harper's looking for a deal that wherever he signs, there's an opportunity for him to opt out in 3 to 4 years so he can re-hit the market and cash in.
When the way that the market goes and it keeps trending upward and upward and upward, it's stupid to take a deal like that, because he would look back in 4 years when he still could probably get a lot of money and go, look at all these other guys who are getting all this money, and I'm stuck at $30 million a year.
Look at the trend that has been happening in the NBA, and you need to apply that to baseball. And that these guys are not signing 5-year, 6-year deals anymore for the most part. They are signing 3 to 5-year deals with opt-outs because they want to be able to maximize their value in their limited window as a player. Bryce Harper's 26. If he signs a 10-year deal with no opt-outs, that's the last deal he's going to get. He's going to play till he's 36, and he might bounce around if he wants to for another year or two on cheap deals, but that's it. I think Bryce Harper's looking to sign a 10-year deal where he can make a decision in 3 years, but in 3 to 4 years, if he makes a decision it's not working, or he suddenly sees the salary situation and the money situation in the league going way north, that he could say, hey, hold on a minute, I need to go get mine, and he can opt out and go get some more money.
And as far as the tea leaves go, let me go ahead and, in case anybody's wondering, or if you're really just not that tuned in to baseball, if Bryce Harper is indeed living in New York, and that's because he's going to play for a team in New York, it will not be the Mets.
No, it'll be the New York Yankees.
In case anybody was wondering,
there was also rumors that the Yankees said if they were to acquire Harper, they would be looking to deal somebody, aka Giancarlo Stanton, who, while a tremendous slugger, is a big righty slugger. And while that's great and all, you swap a righty slugger for a lefty slugger at Yankee Stadium, that's a better situation for you as New York.
If I'm the Yankees, I would much rather have Bryce Harper than Giancarlo.
Correct, as would most. Now, me as a Cubs fan is saying, well, hey, if we can't get Bryce Harper, but you guys are looking to trade Big Giancarlo, hi.
Sure.
Let's talk. Let's talk turkey. I would happily take Giancarlo Stanton as a consolation prize in the Bryce Harper Derby. But yeah, don't sleep on Harper to New York is all I'm saying. Don't sleep on Harper to New York.
I mean, don't sleep on anyone to the Yankees ever.
Correct, ever. Because they've got the pockets and they're not afraid to spend.
And I'm pretty sure he grew up a Yankees fan.
And look, if you're the New York Yankees and you're watching what the Boston Red Sox just did, and you haven't been in or won a World Series since 2009, you're feeling a little keep up with the Jonesy right now.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to do something to try and get back into that mix, you know.
Yeah.
The Boston Red Sox have won 4 World Series titles in the last 14 years, and the Yankees have just the one in 2009.
Right.
The Red Sox won in 2004. You know, the Yankees went to the World Series in 2003 after they beat the Red Sox on the Aaron Boone home run.
Look, the Red Sox dominated from start to finish this
Right.
year, and if you're a Yankees fan and you just won over 100 games and
It
you
makes
still
you sick.
and you weren't really all that close, that's not good.
So if you're Hal Steinbrenner and you're running the New York Yankees and your fan base is getting awfully pissed that the dudes in Boston are hanging banner after banner, and you haven't hung one in now going on a decade, they're getting awfully itchy in New York. They want some action. And look, they love their guys in New York, but if you told them you could swap Giancarlo Stanton for Bryce Harper to a man, nearly every Yankee fan would do it. I
don't know who wouldn't.
You know, as good as Giancarlo Stanton is, Bryce Harper is the better all-around player and at a comparable contract. Now, Stanton still has, 7 years left on that deal he signed with Miami, I think. It was a $300 million deal at the time, a 10-year, $30 million deal. Now, you're not paying the full boat because the Marlins are already paying $30 million of that over the life of it. And, you know, maybe in a trade you could convince the Yankees to eat a little bit of that, too, if you're a team trading for Giancarlo Stanton. So it wouldn't cost you the full boat. So, I don't know. Keep an eye on it. Hot stove's burning, man. And the big fish are going to start to fall soon, and we'll see what happens. I know my team won't be involved in signing any of the big fish, which makes me very sad. And Drew's team won't be involved because they're very bad.
Basically, what we do, like I've said this multiple times, what we do, like, you know who like a perfect Mets signing would be is like they throw a huge deal at like Josh Donaldson.
Right.
Like that would be a super Mets thing to
Andrew
do.
McCutcheon.
Yeah. Like we get the guys who like the name, you hear the name, you're like
oh, snap.
But they really haven't been good for like 5 years.
Yeah. Kutch would be a good Met pickup.
Yeah, sure.
Kutch's best years are behind him. He can still play a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't, but again, just don't throw a ton of money. It would be Mets to throw too much money at him. That's how you get him to come play.
Speaking
for the
of your
Mets.
Mets, your new GM, the agent,
yes,
Brody Van Aswagen or whatever his name is, said that Timmy Tebow is going to start the year at AAA, but he could make the opening day roster. Why not?
Why not?
Why not at this point, Mets? Just go for it.
Don't care.
Who cares? On that note, really, who cares is right. On that note, we'll bid you guys a fond farewell. We love you, and we hope the Jaguars get their first of many second-half wins Sunday against the Colts. We'll be back tomorrow for another maybe award-winning edition of After Drill. We love you. Bye.